Well, hello wherever you're watching around the world, and welcome back to Barcelona, Spain for match 3 of the FanCode European Cricket Series Spain. And unfortunately here it is not good news, as the rain has set in during the break, just starting towards the end of match 2, and it is heavy enough that the umpires have deemed that the ground is not fit to start play. Now match 3 is going to see our first look at FTH Cricket Club, who will be taking on Men in Blue. Men in Blue we saw earlier in match 1, and there's the FTH team there, and I bet they can't wait to get out there. They've been waiting all day to get out there in the middle. Unfortunately the rain is preventing it at this stage. And Rico, we have seen a lot of action so far today. I'm looking forward to getting to know these two teams, but let's have a look back at match 1 from earlier in the day, and it was Bengali sneaking in by only 3 runs against the Men in Blue. So the Men in Blue, they got close, but they would love to get one on the board in this match. As long as they can get on the field, you can see Shankar Kalagatla valiantly with his 51 for Men in Blue, but it wasn't enough to drag them over the line. Shafiqur Rahman, we saw him man of the match in both the 2 games for Bengali in matches 1 and 2. So what a start to the tournament for him. But, you know, we had 2 close games, and then we did see also the Bengali team pulling off a bit of a miracle victory in match 2 against the Catalonia Tigers as well. But what a start for Bengali CC with 2 wins from their first 2 matches.
Absolutely fantastic, yeah. I mean, superb. And, well, you know, it just goes to show with this T10 format, Vinny, as we always say, you never really know. I mean, even with the first game, which wasn't a particularly high-scoring game, and then the second, when we thought that going past the 100 mark for the Catalonia Tigers would be enough to see them with victory. But yeah, T10 is a funny game. It is a team game. We always say cricket is a team game, but one individual has a mare with the bowling, or has an absolute great over with the bat, can change the game. And yes, Irani, you see there on your screen, I mean, he went for 27, and his first over, well, you know, he just lost it. And that over, when that penultimate over, when that went, sorry, it went for 18, didn't it? Went for 18. That gave hope to Bengali. And well, in this match, well, that last match you saw, it was the Bengali Tigers that roared more than the Catalonia Tigers.
And we know the Tigers only won 1 game in their previous European Cricket Series back in October, as we see some highlights here from match 1. And what a day we've seen already. We've seen all the action, the thrills and spills that everyone associates with the FanCode European Cricket Series, with Bengali Men in Blue in match 1. And look, we had the sun out at that point, and I can tell you now that there's rain falling, but I do think that it will pass. There is kind of cloud cover set in, but there are a couple of dark clouds, and we're hoping they blow over. But meanwhile, let's have a look at some of these highlights from match 1. Omar Ali there, getting hit straight down the ground. It was the Bengali team who had just enough on the board. They didn't realise it at that stage. They posted 86, and so requiring 87 for victory. They just fell a little bit short in Men in Blue, and Bengali, after winning 1 game in their previous series, they'd be so happy to have more wins already on the first morning than they got last time in the entire series.
Absolutely, Vinny. I mean, when I saw in between the 2 games, the team, when they won the first game, and we were all smiling saying, we finally won our first game. You know, it's something which I think meant, and that's when we were talking about this in between the games, and Vinny, you saying to me, well, you know, have they put too much energy into the first game? Are they going to be flat for the second one? And when I saw them in between games, I didn't think so. They were on a high, they were on a buzz, and they took that with them. They took that belief with them into the game against the Tigers.
And wasn't that a great moment there for the bowlers? He went straight through. And I tell you what, there's people going everywhere at one point, and the emotion there of T10 as well. He couldn't say anything. This was Musharraf Hussain. He was a prominent player in the first game with bat and ball. And Omar Ali, again, he was in the thick of the action. We haven't seen the best of him yet. Maybe a bit nervous, still very young, of course, very talented player. But you see that model up there on the long boundary. And I tell you what, this is what I love, the emotions of the players that you see. But this is all real cricket. These are real people, and they're so excited to be playing cricket in front of millions of people all around the world on the European Cricket Network. And then, now match 2 came up then. Look at this, this is the final ball, and the scores were tied with the last ball, and it got all the way through. And actually, correction, it was 1 run that they scored off that last ball because they did complete the run before the ball went over the rope. So it was actually a one-run game. It was 108 to 107. They needed 108. They got them exactly, but they looked well behind in that chase, did Bengali, but they pulled it out. And sometimes, winning breeds winning, Rico.
Yeah.
And if you are in the habit of winning, sometimes you find ways to win out of nowhere. And I wonder if that is a good sign for Bengali CC. As we see some of these highlights, and that was Cameron Nawazahi opening the bowling there, just getting edged away. And Omar, again, he looked like he had it in him a couple of times. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a big score at some point. But this was not a moment that he likes to remember there. No real footwork call on the crease. And straight through. And Duskia, there, look at that little hat toss. He showed he mean business, and no problems with the sun shining off his head today, Rico, as he left arm orthodox. But certainly was an entertaining game. To think, Rico, we have 124 of these games. You see the Big Mac there enjoying it, and there's a few tugging and rubbing and a few sore bodies here on the first morning. Still winter's morning in Barcelona, but it's great to play some cricket.
Yeah, I'm just watching that last shot there, the ball that went past the infield and went for four. Just before that, we were saying that maybe the Catalonia Tigers were being a little bit too overconfident. They weren't using or utilising the number of players they were allowed outside the 30-yard circle after the power play. Maybe that cost them there at the end, Vinny, by not patrolling the boundaries.
Yeah, look, and that might be true when you think how tight the margin was in the end. There's Raj highlighted there. But we certainly had plenty of action there. We saw some catches, some taken, some going down. But you see the emotion there of the Bengali CC team as they were thrilled to get this victory. And that was the moment, wasn't it? And again, it all comes down to it. And that's where, perhaps being the first game of the season, a bit rusty in the field. And that's the sort of thing. Imagine that. Imagine a golden ball in the second ball. We've been very close a couple of times, but we have 122 more chances in Barcelona here to get a golden ball. I'm certainly looking forward to plenty more cricket, not just today, but in the next 5 weeks. But right now, unfortunately, the news is that rain is stopping play.
Yeah, I'm just watching the reaction there of the Bengali dugout when they won that game. It was like we are in the Campo de Béisbol Carlos Pérez Rosas, and it is... it's right next to the Olympic Stadium, and the Bengali Cricket Club there, it was almost like they'd won the gold medal. They were so excited, and so they should be, because, that was a big win for them. Remember, Catalonia Tigers, they won the Barcelona Bash, which was the last European Cricket Series here, so they were on a high. Okay, they're missing a few players. That has to be said for all teams, though. A lot of these teams, because of the COVID restrictions, a lot of players are stranded in various parts of the world, so Catalonia Tigers have drafted in a few players themselves. But come on, when you've got the Big Mac himself and Yasir Ali in your squad, strong players, and they know they've let themselves down here today. Maybe a little bit too complacent. Yasir Ali there at the beginning, giving his wicket away, and also perhaps Amagan Khan as well. So they know they need to do better. They're just seeing the team. Fateh are a team. That they're one of those, they're either very good or they're not so good. It's the way to put it. They're a lovely bunch of lads. They're really up for it. But their main stars, Mahinder Singh Lovely, their captain, if he can get going, he's very unorthodox. And then Happy Singh in the European Cricket Series, the very first one. Fateh did very well in that one. They produced some shocks. They produced a golden ball for us as well. That can produce on the day. They finished a respectable 5th in their group with 4 wins out of 7. But in the second one, their frailty showed, and that was if Happy Singh didn't perform or Majinder Singh Lovely didn't perform, they weren't able to score big runs. And in fact, they do hold the record for the lowest European Cricket Series score, 35. That's something that they don't want to forget. But their captain, and I'll finish on Fateh with this, the captain Majinder Singh Lovely in that European Cricket Series number 2 did say to me, he said, Rico Paji, he said, we haven't got a strongest team out. We didn't have much time to prepare for this one, but the next time you see us, we'll be a different team. Well, I'm looking forward to it, Majinder Singh Lovely.
Yeah, well, let's have a bit of a close look then at this game, match 3. And you mentioned some of the issues there with Fateh last time. We do see what does look to be a pretty competitive lineup, and I think this could be another close game between Fateh and Men in Blue. And just to explain this graphic, this is Mr. Maximo's fantasy dashboard, and of course a lot of you out there maybe have seen my YouTube preview shows during the last year. Now, because I'm out of the studio, I'm out of the ground, instead of that we are showing this fantasy dashboard before every game in the FanCode European Cricket Series, and this gives you all the information that you need to know if you are picking a Dream 11 or playing fantasy cricket and you want to get all that information in one place. We are providing it to you here on the European Cricket Network, so you can see that you've got the 11 players as selected, and each of them has a role. So if you this is specific to Dream 11, they have roles as batters or bowlers or wicketkeepers or all-rounders, and it's there. So you see that Fateh going with 6 bowlers in this match, so they get plenty of options. And you can see there also the credits for each team, and the credits, I think you have 100 credits to spend when you're picking your Dream 11, your best 11 players you think will be the best performers in the game. And also you see the points, and these are Dream 11 points, which players accumulate by contributing the match through runs or wickets or catches and things of that nature. So you can see Fateh don't have any points yet because they haven't played a game. You can also see here there's a lot of information in here. It shows you who won the toss. So Fateh won the toss, elected to bat first. It also gives you their records so far in this tournament. So you can see 0 and 1. That means that Men in Blue have 0 wins and 1 loss. Fateh, of course, are yet to play. And you've even got, of course, the time zones down the bottom. So hopefully you can work out where to watch wherever you are in the world. And down the bottom in the right-hand corner, now that is just a unique identifier for this game because we have so much cricket happening this year on the European Cricket Network. So this is ECS 21, of course, European Cricket Series 21, and it is the 3rd match. So we plan to actually break that in the bottom right-hand corner because we think that we're going to get over 1,000 games. Right? That's a good problem to have if we run out of numbers, but at the moment you can see this is ECS 21.003, so if you wanted to see the match highlights, for example, of this game, you could type that in, and hopefully you're going to get the kind of search results that you are looking for. And of course our website europeancricket.com is a great place to go for all the information and extra kind of tidbits about these teams. And if you are just enjoying the games, you want to know who to watch, or you're playing fantasy cricket, there's a treasure trove of information there. We have a daily match preview in a written form on the website. And I'll say it again, on the website europeancricket.com, and we've already seen a couple of games here day one, and the reports have been pretty accurate because the players to watch, they're there. We even give who we think will bat in the top 4, who we think will open the bowling, and the spin bowling options, and just a little bit about the players to watch. So make sure that you check that every day before you tune into the telecast, europeancricket.com. Now, there's a few people still watching on the YouTube chat, and they're seeing at the moment probably not very much in the way of play, but if you'd like to speak to us about getting some questions in during this rain delay, Rico and I are here, and we're very excited to be back in Spain and hopefully getting some cricket. And we have 25 match days here, Monday to Friday, for 5 days every week, for 5 games every day. But you can see right now we are probably losing some overs at the moment, and of course we need at least 5 overs for each team for it to count as a game, and you hope we just have enough overs to get on with match 3. But you can see there's the ground staff working very hard. But let me have a look at this YouTube chat. At the moment we've got Luke Belgium in there. We got Luke who wants to know, this is a good question, can you give us any information about when overs get lost or when the game has to start, if it has to be a 5-over bash? Now that is a very, very good question, and I always wonder this myself, but I think because with these games, so I can't give you an exact answer, Luke, but I promise I will get back to you with an exact answer. But I can tell you that we can't, in a normal game of cricket, I say normal, but if you have one game of cricket in a day, you can kind of push back the ending so that the end time, so that'll make an allowance, but it's very difficult for us to do that in the FanCode European Cricket Series because of course you have a new game starting straight away. So I'm not sure in these games if you can actually move the end time, which means that overs pretty much get lost straight away. Whether it's a one-day international, you normally have a bit of a grace period. If it's only 20 minutes or 30 minutes of rain, you're still going to get all the overs in. But I think we're probably losing overs already. But Rico, what do you think here? And do you think that reduced overs game, does that favour maybe the team batting first or second? Or probably in this situation, they haven't started playing yet, so maybe it doesn't have that much of an impact.
Yeah, I mean, I experienced this when we were in Malta. So yeah, very good question. And what does happen, because the schedule We don't make any changes to the schedule, so basically the overs are, you reiterate the overs, but you need to be, for a match to take place, has to be a minimum of 5 overs. So as long as the tournament referee feels that the pitch and the outfield as well, of course, the ground itself is fit to play on, and there's no risk to the players, then we can have, time permitting, and if the rain stops, a 5 over bat. Which team I think favours those conditions? I think it's about getting the runs on the board. I think the team that gets the runs on the board normally go on to fare better, and I'm sure, thinking off the top of my head and my memory, in Malta that was the case. But what was interesting is the amount of runs scored. There were still 60, 70 runs being scored of 5 overs, so it's still an entertaining game. And I think the mindset of the players to go out there, hit over the top. Obviously things like the power play, that needs to be changed. I think in the 5 over game, the power play, I think maybe 2 overs, but all of these things have to be decided by the tournament.
It's all in the regular. What I will do is say, look, if you go onto our website, europeancricket.com, you'll find there all the documents in the exact playing conditions. Now, look, sometimes I do think that they're a bit of a good sleeping pill. I was on the plane the other night and I started reading the playing conditions and nodded off around page 4 or 5, because of course there's a lot of rules to cover all these circumstances. Now, I'm not going to be exact here, but I think as far as the time point of view, normally for a 5 over game, you're going to need about 20 minutes for each team's innings, which is 40 minutes, probably plus a 10-minute break. So this may not be exact, because I think it's technically 14.11 overs per hour or something. So if I'm going to be rough though, then you'd think that we need at least 50 minutes before the finish time to start this game. So you probably, what time this game was meant to start on the half hour. So yeah, you're probably needing to start, I'd say 50 minutes before that. And this game was meant to finish. How's my maths going here? I'm trying my hardest. Is this
this steam coming out of the top of Vinny Sandhu's head?
Got the calculator out. I think 2:15 local is when it's meant to finish. So I would have thought that you'd probably want to start by 1:25. So we may have just over half an hour or so to play with and still get a game in. And we certainly hope that we can get a game in. But at the moment, it's just been steady. This is good kind of. I know we're in Spain, but this is a London drizzle kind of weather.
I mean, I've got to remind people, a lot of people say this when they're out there, it's raining in Spain. We've got to remind people we do have rain. Those of you that have been following some of the weather the last few weeks will know we also get snow in Madrid. Certainly got its fair amount of snow a few weeks back. But we are in the winter, and though we don't see a lot of this wet stuff, we do get it now and again. And unfortunately got some here today. I think the forecast for tomorrow is could be a little bit similar today, but there is bright stuff around. Talking about around, one thing Vinny and other people ask, because they see this iconic tower when we are at Mount Dewey that is hovering over us, and a few people ask, well, what is that all about? Well, it is it was a tower that was constructed, the communications towers constructed for the 1992 Olympics. Now it is 136 metres high. Now one thing which I found interesting, which I didn't know, is the design of the tower. It's all to do with a figure at like an athlete from the Olympics in Greece, which was an athlete which is actually bending down to receive his medal. So I found that quite interesting.
Yeah, it is an interesting design of that tower, isn't it? It's a bit different to most communication towers. I think it looks a bit like a needle and thread. I don't know if the guys there can get us a shot of it, but it's the communications tower, and I don't know what it is. It's got a bit of a rocket launch about it as well, like some sort of like space age kind of thing. But in Barcelona, it's so cultural that even the communications towers are artsy. I love that.
Listen, architect, Barcelona, we keep saying it's a wonderful city. I mean, you can't, not today so much, but as the series goes on and we get rid of some of these clouds, you'll see the view from here is absolutely magnificent. The architecture here in Barcelona is superb. I mean, now talking about the Olympics, Vinny, 1992. What can you remember? Do you got a memory of that? Because I know I have.
I can tell you what my memory is. It's not even from the games, because I think I have a few memories from there. But I remember Amigos para siempre means you'll always be my friend. Do you remember? That's it. That I was 11 years old actually watching the '92 Olympics.
Yeah.
And it's a classic song. They had the tenors singing it, and it was a beautiful moment. And the archer. Do you remember the archer lighting it and lighting the flame?
Yeah, I mean, lighting the flame. And if you remember what we talked about here, is that golden arrow that was fired by a Paralympian, wasn't it? It was Antonio Rovello, who was a Paralympian that fired the arrow. Now the interesting fact about it was actually fired and went outside the stadium, and it didn't actually go onto the torch because, of course, they were worried about the health and safety side. But it was done so well that you really couldn't see that, and that was how the Olympic torch was lit, and that was for me a very memorable moment. And something else that comes to mind was it was also the very first Olympics, which followed after the apartheid. So all countries took part in it. So, like I say, lots of fantastic history around here to do with the Olympics. And Mount Dewey, where we are now, well, Mount Dewey, the name takes after a mountain, and Dewey is Jewish, so it's named after a Jewish settlement. A lot of there's a Jewish cemetery around here as well. But we ourselves up here are fairly high up in this area. We're on like a broad shallow hill. We're overlooking the top of the Mount Dewey Castle. It's a lovely setting. It absolutely is, and we're part of Olympic history here.
Absolutely, and who would have thought that within 30 years we'd be having so much cricket being played in the baseball stadium. Luke Belgium saying in the YouTube chat that he thinks it's an interesting conversation. Well, it's interesting that you think it's interesting, Luke, and he said that he's going to stick his neck out and say the game is very doubtful to start. And he also, which may be true, but we'll see. I think it's eased off a little bit in the last couple of minutes. Luke says he was 21 when Barcelona Olympics were on. He's been to the city many times. Would recommend it to anyone. And I'll tell you what, it's a beautiful city. Obviously, it's not quite the normal Barcelona at the moment, but still you can tell everyone's trying to be as responsible as possible. And there's great feeling about the city and all these interesting cultural aspects and architectural aspects. Okay, so this is match 3 you're meant to be watching between FTH and the men in blue. I can tell you we have had a toss. Why don't we have a look at the toss now for match 3. The two captains were there with their match referee, Shub. And the coin went up.
Yeah, it's the call.
So you can see there that FTH winning the toss, electing to bat, and we've seen the same tactic employed by Bengali CC in the first match of the day, in their first match, and men in blue will be chasing again. And we saw that they weren't quite able to chase down that total in the first game. They got desperately close, but they will have another chase on their hands here. If there is gets a game in, it will be probably a truncated chase as well, so there'll be no excuse for them to go for their shots from ball 1.
Yeah, they'll have to go from it straight away. Kaligatla made 51 not out, so he's the first bat to pass a landmark here, if you like, getting to his 50. But he'll be disappointed that he scored that 51 not out, but was unable to see his team to a win. Thanks to our partners, of course, our title partner, Fan Code. And remember, those of you who are on the sub-Indian continent watching through there, and welcome to you all. Kookaburra is our ball partner. Thank you to Kookaburra. And then, of course, other partners involved, a travel partner, Bizaway Travel, trophy partner. Gonna a little bit of a wait until we see these spectacular trophies from our partner there, Locker Lifestyles, and also our production partner, Spring Production. And talk about production, we've got a marvellous production team here.
Absolutely.
Working tirelessly behind the scenes, bringing you all the action.
Rain, hail or shine, Rico.
Yeah, so that's Almaz, Elvira and Martin. Thank you guys, doing a fantastic job. And also to the ground staff who on a day like today, they kept very busy and organised very well by Roberto, the main man, and of course some of the volunteers from the Catalonia Cricket Federation out there doing their bit.
Yeah, so look, There is no news at the moment about an updated start time. The rain has started coming down a little bit heavier in the last couple of minutes, so that is unfortunate. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave you for now, but we do promise to keep you informed if there are any developments with respect to a start time. Either listen into the telecast, or if you check that YouTube chat, we will let you know as soon as we have an updated start time for this match. Meanwhile, you can check over the schedule at our website, europeancricket.com, and also at our social media at European Cricket on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. There you'll get all those fantasy dashboards. And you see there the beautiful pictures of Barcelona, but unfortunately blanketed in rain at the moment. So we're going to have a delay to start 3, but we will leave you for now. Stay tuned for any information with regards to the resumption of play here on day 1 of the FanCode European Cricket Series in Spain, Barcelona, Spain. It's great to be with you here. Vinny Sandu, Mr. Maximo with Rico Full. We'll say bye for now and see you soon on the European Cricket Network.